The arena shook with noise. Thousands of aliens from different planets filled the seats, screaming and laughing. It was the Galactic Combat Trials, an event held once every 10 years. Only the strongest warriors were chosen to fight. Claws, blades, fire breath, teleportation. This was no place for the weak. Then came the human. He stepped onto the battlefield wearing simple black pants and no shoes. His hair was short, his face calm. He looked around once and took a slow breath. His name was Cole Wren, and no one in the crowd believed he would last even a minute. Is this a joke? Someone shouted from the stands. Did Earth send a farmer? Laughed another. Look, he's not even carrying a weapon. Up in the royal box, Princess Zerine of Clawthorn, a tall alien woman with shining silver skin and sharp red eyes, smiled with amusement. She leaned toward her guard and asked, "Is this the human warrior they promised?" He moved slower than my grandmother's pet snail. The horn blew. 12 mechanical arrow drones appeared, forming a circle around Cole. Each drone was armed with a high-speed arrow sharp, enough to cut steel and fast enough to pierce armor. The rule was simple: survive the arrows. Cole stood perfectly still. Eyes closed, arms at his sides, the countdown began. 3. The crowd watched. 2. Zerine chuckled. 1. The drones fired. 12 arrows launched toward Cole at once from all directions. The speed was impossible to follow with the eyes. But in the very last second, something strange happened. Cole moved. He ducked under one arrow, spun left past another, leaned his head back just enough for a third to pass his nose, and stepped sideways as the rest flew by. Not a single arrow touched him. Gasps filled the arena. A few aliens even stood from their seats. Zerine's smile disappeared. Her red eyes narrowed. What just happened? Lucky, she whispered. The drones reloaded. This time they fired 2 rounds at once, 24 arrows. Again, Cole kept his eyes closed. Again, he moved as if he had done this 1,000 times. Again, not one arrow touched him. The crowd fell silent. He didn't look scared. He didn't even look proud. He just stood there quiet, still, breathing slow. The announcer shouted, "Human contestant Cole Wren has passed the first trial without using weapons or sight." Some clapped, some booed. But no one laughed now. In the royal box, Zerine stood and jumped down from her seat. Her armor shimmered as she landed on the arena floor. She walked up to Cole and stood inches from him. Her voice was cold and sharp. "You think dodging makes you a warrior?" she asked. Cole opened his eyes for the first time. They were gray, calm, and steady. "I think living is a good start," he said. Zerine turned to the crowd and raised her hand. "I challenge this human to personal combat. One-on-one, right here, right now," the crowd roared. This was what they wanted, real battle. The announcer hesitated. "Princess Zerine, are you certain?" "This human," I said now. She snapped. Cole didn't move. "If that's what you want," he said softly. The arena shifted. The ground changed shape. The arrow drones disappeared, and a circular platform rose from below. Weapons appeared: swords, spears, axes, even plasma knives. Zerine grabbed her twin blades, curved, deadly, fast. Cole did nothing. He didn't reach for a weapon. "You won't even pick something?" she asked. "I already have," he said. She frowned. "What?" He raised a single finger and tapped the side of his head. "This." She charged out faster than most could see. Her blades flew in perfect arcs, aiming for his chest, neck, legs. But Cole dodged again. Step, slide, duck, pivot. His movements were smooth, practiced, perfect. He didn't strike back. He just avoided everything. 10 seconds passed, then 20, then 30. Zerine started breathing harder. Sweat appeared on her brow. She swung harder, faster, more wildly. Cole still didn't touch a weapon. He just watched her. At last she stepped back and pointed one blade at him. You think this proves something? She said, her voice shaking with anger and something else, confusion. Cole looked around at the crowd. All eyes were on him. I think it proves, he said, that slow doesn't mean weak. The crowd exploded with sound. Cheers, claps, shock. Some still couldn't believe what they saw. The human, slow and calm, had survived every attack without even hitting back. Up in the shadows of the arena, a cloaked alien elder turned to his assistant. Mark my words, he said. This human is not just a fighter, he is a storm in silence. And down in the arena, Zyrene's face turned serious for the first time in years. Because now, she wasn't laughing. To be continued in part 2. A Princess's Challenge *. The next day, the arena was silent. No music, no drums, no announcements. Even the crowd felt different. They didn't come to laugh today. They came to watch. Because now, the entire galaxy had one question. Who is this human named Cole Wren? Up in the royal chamber, Princess Zyrene sat alone. Her armor lay across the floor, untouched. Her blades rested beside her clean, but her pride was shaken. She replayed the moment over and over again in her head. How did he dodge every strike? How could someone so slow avoid every blade, every swing, with eyes barely open? She had faced beasts from fire worlds and assassins who moved like shadows. But none had made her feel like a child swinging at wind, her fingers tightened into fists. This isn't over, she whispered. A knock came at the door. Her younger brother, Prince Velan, entered. His eyes were wide with worry. Sister. The council wants to meet him, he said. Zyrene stood. The human? Yes, and not just our council. 4 other planetary lords have sent messages. They want to test him, or take him. Zyrene growled. He's not a prize to pass around. Velan stepped closer. Then why did you challenge him in front of everyone? She didn't answer. She didn't know herself, but deep inside, something was burning. Not just anger, not just curiosity, something else. That evening, Zyrene entered the training courtyard alone, but Cole was already there. He stood barefoot on the stone tiles, eyes closed again, breathing slow. How long have you been here? She asked. Since before sunrise, he said without turning. Still pretending to be a monk? She mocked. I don't pretend anything, he replied calmly. Zyrene stepped closer. Her voice was sharp. You embarrassed me. In front of my people. You tried to cut me in half, he answered. Eyes still shut. She was quiet for a moment. Then she asked, why didn't you strike back? He opened his eyes slowly. Because you weren't angry enough to kill me, he said. Zyrene's lips parted, but no words came. You were testing me, he continued. So I let you. The silence between them stretched. Then she said, I want a rematch. Cole shook his head. That wouldn't be a challenge anymore. Why? Because now I've already read you. What does that mean? It means your steps, your rhythm, your breathing. I already know them. Zyrene's heart pounded faster. It felt like he was reading her thoughts. How? Before she could answer, the sky above the arena cracked with sound. A royal ship arrived, black and gold, with the crest of the Velter Syndicate, the most powerful warrior clan in the outer systems. From the ship stepped a tall alien with deep violet skin and golden armor. His name was Commander Routhen, the undefeated champion of 12 systems. He wasn't here to spectate. He was here to fight the human. Later, the courtyard became full of soldiers, lords, and warriors. Cole stood at the center. Routhen paced across from him, sword in hand, eyes glowing. I've crushed planets for less, he said. You want to act strong, human? Then die strong. Cole didn't speak. He simply dropped into a low stance. Feet planted, body loose, Zyrene watched from the edge of the arena. Routhen charged. Blades flashed. The ground cracked. Energy pulsed through the air. And still, Cole moved like flowing water. Not faster than the sword, but earlier than the strike. He bent before the blade reached him. He sidestepped before the energy. Pulse left Rothan's gauntlet. He blocked once, bare-handed, and the crowd gasped as the champion's sword cracked in half. Rothan stepped back in disbelief. Cole stood tall, breathing steady, not even sweating. "I don't want to fight you," Cole said quietly. "You broke my weapon." Rothan growled. Cole looked at the blade. "It was already weak. I just pointed it out." Zyrene's mouth dropped slightly open. Her brother whispered, "He made the champion look like a beginner." The entire crowd began to whisper now. Did it? Was that luck? No, that was something else. That was prediction. That was Earth technique. Zyrene stepped forward. The crowd turned to her. "Enough," she said. "Cole Ren is no longer a trial guest. From this moment forward, he is under my house protection." The declaration shook the arena. Rao then growled. "He belongs to Earth." Zyrene raised her voice. "He belongs to no one." She turned to Cole. "If you'll allow it, I want to learn." "From you." Cole looked at her. His face didn't change, but his voice was softer now. "I never came to fight," he said. "I came to show something." "What?" she asked. "That humans may be slow to speak, but when they move, everyone listens." The training ground was empty, but Cole moved as if surrounded by enemies. Each step he took seemed practiced, measured, not for show, but as if carved into him by survival. His hands moved through the air like they were cutting shapes from invisible battles. His feet made no sound on the stone floor. His body turned and twisted, as if it already knew the next attack before it arrived. Zyrene stood in the shadows, watching silently. This was not performance. It was memory. Every motion, every shift and weight, told a story, but not one she could read. She had trained with the greatest warriors in the galaxy. She had studied blade and spear, learned forms from Flameborn and Clawed masters. And yet, this human, moved like no one she had seen. Not fast, not flashy. Just right. Perfect in timing, balance, and restraint. She finally stepped forward and asked, "Where did you learn this?" Cole paused, then answered without looking at her, "Earth." "That's not enough," she said, stepping closer. "Where on Earth? Who taught you to move like that?" He looked down at his open palm. For a moment he didn't speak. Then he said, "No one alive anymore." She blinked. "Your teacher is dead?" He nodded. "So is the place where I trained." A cold wind blew through the open court. "What happened?" she asked, softer now. Cole finally turned toward her. "We built something powerful, too powerful, then we let it fall. Everyone I trained with, everyone who trained me, vanished in one day." Zyrene felt a chill down her back. "A weapon?" Cole shook his head. "A mind. Our bodies were just the tools. But our minds were the real danger." She didn't understand. "Explain." Cole walked toward a stone block and placed his hand on it. "We were taught to read the body before it moved, to feel pressure in the air, to see breath, heartbeat, hesitation, fear." He moved behind her now, "Like you. Your right shoulder always dips half a second before you strike. Your foot tenses and your neck locks. You blink once before you charge." Zyrene turned around sharply. "You were watching me that closely?" "I was surviving," he replied. "That's what Earth's last generation of combatants learned. We were trained in silence, in ruins, after wars that erased entire cities." She whispered, "So you're a war orphan?" "No," he said. "I'm the result of the war. I was made in it." Zyrene's heart pounded. Cole stepped back. "I didn't dodge those arrows by speed. I dodged them by memory." She looked down at his feet scarred, his arms burned, his back tattooed with names in a strange script. "How many have you killed?" she asked. He didn't blink. "2. Many, and yet you never drew a blade." Because if I do, he said, I remember all of them. Every single one. Zerine felt a knot in her stomach. She had fought wars. But this man had survived them in a different way. He didn't want to win. He wanted not to become a monster. Suddenly, alarms rang across the training court. A royal guard ran in. Princess Zerine, the Velter ships are back. But this time, they've brought mercenaries. They want the human, Zerine growled. They dare step on my land again? They say. He must be tested by fire or handed over. Zerine turned to Cole. What will you do? She asked. He looked at the distant ships. His voice was calm. I'll stand where I am. They'll bring weapons, killers, Cole nodded. Let them. You'll fight them all? He turned. To her, eyes steady. No, I'll show them what Earth remembers. Zerine clenched her fists. You're not alone, Cole. He looked surprised. Not anymore, she added as they stepped out of the court together. The skies above rumbled. Dozens of Velter warriors stood waiting, all armored, all trained, but none of them had seen what Zerine had seen. They hadn't. Watch the man with closed eyes dance through death. They hadn't seen the memory in his movement. They didn't know the truth. Cole Wren didn't fight to kill. He fought because it was all that remained of the place that made him, and now that memory was about to awaken. Asterisk in the war archives beneath planet Straxus, hidden under layers of security. An old alien historian moved through the dark, his long fingers brushed across metal plaques and broken weapons, keepsakes from every battle ever fought across the stars. But today, he searched for one file. Earth, he whispered. Classified Level 7. Access forbidden without council approval. The AI voice responded. Override accepted. Proceed with caution. A large screen lit up. Images flashed across it. Cities turned to ash, skies burning red, oceans pulled from shorelines. And amidst all the chaos, humans, barefoot, bleeding, half-starved, but standing, fighting, winning. The historian leaned in close. He saw children being trained in silence, walking blindfolded through broken buildings, dodging swinging blades, solving puzzles while under fire. He saw warriors meditating while explosions roared around them, not flinching, not moving. Then he saw a name, Cole Wren, file erased by Protocol 9. The historian's eyes widened. So he was one of them. On Varnock's plateau, under heavy storm clouds, ships began landing. Dozens of Velter mercenaries stepped out. Their leader, a giant reptilian warlord named Drak Zul, growled at the soldiers standing guard. Where is the human? He barked, Zerine. Step forward. You're not welcome here, he laughed. Not your choice, princess. He embarrassed our champion. We're here to erase that insult. Behind her, Cole stepped out into the wind. His shirt was gone. His chest bore old scars burn. Lines, knife cuts, old bullet marks. But his expression was calm. Drak Zul pointed. That's him? Looks half dead already. One of his commanders leaned close. You should be careful. The humans, Drak smacked him aside. The humans are extinct cowards who cried when their cities fell. Don't try to scare me with ghosts. Cole spoke for the first time. You think you're prepared, Drak snorted. You think you're better than us because you dodged some arrows? Cole took a slow breath. I'm not better. I'm just trained to survive what your kind never imagined. Drak laughed, then snapped his claws. A signal. His men charged, but as they ran something strange happened. They slowed, not because of fear, but confusion. Their feet stumbled. There. Strikes missed. Cole moved through them, not with speed, but with precision. One punch to the chest, perfectly placed, knocked a soldier unconscious. A step to the side, a twist of the wrist, disarmed another. He didn't break bones. He didn't draw blood, but within 30 seconds, the first wave was on the ground, breathing, but broken. Zerine couldn't speak. Neither could her brother. Even Drak took one step back. What are you? He growled. Cole didn't answer right. Away. Then, slowly he said, I am what Earth left behind. We weren't trained to fight wars. We were trained to end them. Another wave charged. These were elite Velter shock troops. They surrounded Cole, one from behind, sword raised, but before it could land, Cole was already turning. He moved through them like water. Each strike was nothing. A tap to the knee drop, a twist at the elbow collapse. Breath stolen. Silence. By the time Drak Zul himself stepped forward, his warriors were all down, groaning, defeated. You cheat, Drak shouted. This isn't strength, you use tricks. Cole looked at him with quiet eyes. You think strength is loud. But the strongest thing in the universe is control. Drak roared and charged. He raised his axe swung. Cole didn't move. The axe stopped because Cole was holding it. With one hand. The wind went still. Then, Cole pushed Drak back gently. The warlord stumbled and fell to one knee, not from pain, from shame. Zyrine stepped beside Cole. Now you see, she said. Why the galaxy fears Earth's training. Drak's army retreated. The plateau fell silent. Cole stood alone, arms by his sides, eyes half closed. He whispered to the wind. They forgot what humans can do. But soon, they'll remember. Far above, in the command center of an orbital station, a cloaked figure watched the footage. A machine beside him beeped, scanning Cole's body data. Unregistered style, the AI said. No known form detected. The figure leaned closer. This isn't just combat, he murmured. This is survival encoded into the soul. He turned to the stars. Prepare the others. Earth's shadow has returned. The medical tent was quiet. After the fight on Varnok's plateau, the arena healers offered their scans and their finest tech, but Cole refused all of it. He sat alone inside, shirtless, cross-legged, eyes closed, not sleeping. Just still, outside. The tent, Princess Zyrine hesitated. She had fought him, challenged him, watched him drop elite soldiers like falling leaves. And yet, the image burned in her mind wasn't his strength. It was the look in his eyes haunted, not proud. There was no joy in his victory. No hunger for glory. She stepped inside. He opened his eyes without being startled. He had sensed her. You didn't need to fight them, she said. They needed to see, he replied softly. Zyrine looked at the bandage on his shoulder, barely hiding a burn mark. You let them hit you. Why? He didn't answer. Instead, he turned slightly and revealed an old scar near his heart, curved like a claw but jagged like glass. She stepped closer. That wasn't from today. He shook his head. That was from before Earth fell. Zyrine reached out. May I? He nodded. Her hand pressed against his chest-warm skin. Steady heartbeat, and suddenly her eyes went wide, because she saw everything. She wasn't on the planet anymore. She stood in a ruined city, skies black, buildings broken, smoke rising, children in torn clothes trained in silence. They moved blindfolded between wreckage and rubble. Each mistake earned bruises, not lectures. Their trainers didn't shout. They simply watched and corrected with soft taps and fast attacks. She saw a younger Cole, maybe 15, dodging spinning blades, crawling through burning wires, lifting injured teammates while bleeding from his back. Then came the war. Aliens descended, not warriors, but machines, harvesters, AI weapons that erased whole nations. On Earth fought alone. Zyrine felt herself inside Cole's memory, his heartbeat racing through her palm. He ran through fire. He carried a wounded girl on his shoulders. He bled from his legs but kept moving. He didn't cry. He didn't scream. He remembered everything, even the moment the bunker collapsed and his squad was buried. Only he crawled out. Zyrine gasped and pulled her hand back. Her legs gave out, and she dropped to her knees. She was breathing hard, heart pounding, overwhelmed. Cole stayed still, quiet as ever. That wasn't just pain, she whispered. That was training inside suffering, he nodded. That's what we became, not warriors. Not soldiers, survivors shaped into weapons. Tears burned in her eyes. But you didn't kill unless you had to. That's why I'm the last, he said quietly. Zerine looked up at him. How can anyone carry that? Cole didn't answer right away. Then he said, because if I forget it, then they died for nothing. She understood that this man didn't. Trained to win tournaments. He trained to remember the ones who were gone. Every movement was part of someone else's story. Every dodge, every step was built on the lives he had outlived. That night, Zerine called off all challenges. She declared Cole under royal protection, no more fights unless he agreed. Some warriors were furious. Others understood, but one thing was certain: none of them laughed anymore. Zerine stood with Cole beneath the stars. You know they fear you now, she said. I'm used to that, he replied, but I don't. He turned. Why not? Because I saw your fear. I saw your guilt. A true monster doesn't carry that much weight. You do. Cole said nothing. The stars reflected in his tired eyes. Then she added, You are not the slowest warrior I've met. Cole Wren, you're just the one who thinks before moving. He smiled for the first time. Zerine reached up and touched his chest again, not to see his past, but to feel that he was still real, alive, and no longer alone, far above, in the depths of space. A message was sent to the High Galactic Council. Subject: Human Cole Wren classification. Reevaluate. Potential Omega-level combat form. Threat level unknown. Request immediate observation. And somewhere, beyond all eyes, something ancient began to stir, because Earth's ghost had a heartbeat again. To be continued in Part 6. Allies, enemies, and something else. Asterisk. The sky over Vetrax turned green. Ships arrived without warning, sleek, sharp, and silent. Their markings were ancient, burned into their hulls like scars from a forgotten empire. Inside the Royal Command Tower, alarms rang. Zerine stood on the balcony, watching the ships hover above the capital. They're not from Veltor, her brother said. These signatures, I don't recognize them. I do, Cole said from behind them. Zerine turned. He wasn't even looking at the sky. He had already felt their presence. His eyes were focused on the floor, like he was remembering a nightmare rising from under his feet. They're from the outer void, he said quietly. They don't come to talk. They come to test. Zerine narrowed her eyes. Test what? Cole's voice was cold. Hope. In the diplomatic chamber, 3 figures appeared from the lead ship. One was covered in bone armor, tall as a giant, face hidden behind a cracked skull. One was a floating sphere, pulsing with red light and scanning every heartbeat in the room. And the third looked human. She was pale, hair white, eyes silver. But something was wrong. Her skin shimmered like oil under light, and her breath made the walls shake slightly. She walked straight up to Cole. Designation: Unit 317, she said. We thought you were destroyed with the rest. Cole didn't move. I'm not yours anymore. Zerine stepped forward. Who are you? The woman turned her silver eyes to Zerine. We are the Echo Corps. We collect surviving combat variants like him before they become problems. Zerine's voice sharpened. He's under royal protection. The woman smiled faintly. Royal law ends where extinction begins. Cole finally spoke again. I buried your labs. I erased the numbers from my skin. You're not taking me back. The bone-armored giant stepped forward, hand reaching for a glowing collar. Zerine's sword was in her hand instantly, but Cole raised one hand. No, the room stilled. If I fight now, others die, he said. And I promised no more war unless it came for me. The floating sphere spoke. Then surrender and return with us. Your data must be preserved. Zerine's eyes widened. You don't see him as a person. You see him as property. The woman tilted her head. Everything designed for war is property. Your kind just forgot. Cole looked at Zerine, then at her brother, then at the alien guards around the room, uncertain, afraid. He stepped forward, and knelt. The room gasped. I'll go, he said. But not because I'm weak. Because I'm the only one who can stop what's coming if you wake it up. The woman reached for the collar, but the moment it touched his neck, Zerine screamed, "Now!" Everything exploded into motion. Cole flipped backward, grabbed the collar mid-her, and crushed it with one hand. Zerine and her brother struck the armored giant at once. Guards swarmed the sphere, but its shockwave pulsed, knocking them back. Cole moved through the chaos like a storm in slow motion, his fists breaking armor, his eyes watching 4 moves ahead. The white-haired woman tried to vanish into mist, but Cole struck her before she even began. "You didn't design me well enough," he said. She hissed. "You were never supposed to think." He replied, "That was your biggest mistake." Outside the tower, the Echo Corps ships turned and fled. The fight inside had lasted less than a minute, and the galaxy felt it. Hours later, Zerine sat beside Cole on the edge of the royal garden wall. She looked at him. "They made you," she said, "then feared what they made." He nodded. "And now they know I remember." She reached for his hand. "I'm not just your ally now, Cole. I'm something else." He glanced at her. "What?" "Your anchor. If the war ever tries to pull you back, I'll hold you here." He didn't reply, but his hand squeezed hers. Elsewhere, on a dark moon orbiting a dead star, a council of shadows met. One voice spoke. "He remembers his training," another said. "He has allies now." "This changes everything," a third whispered. "Then send her. She's the only one who can reach him before the rest of Earth's secrets wake." And deep in a cryovault, a pod opened. A girl stepped out, young, with red eyes and a scar that matched Cole's perfectly. She whispered, "Where is he?" The wind carried her scent before the scanners even saw her. She stepped onto the Vetrax landing pad alone. No army, no armor, no guards. Just bare feet, a torn cloak, and red eyes glowing beneath a hood. She looked young, too young. But her presence made soldiers freeze where they stood. Zerine stood atop the palace tower, watching her approach. "Who is she?" Cole stood beside her, silent, but his hands trembled. "That's impossible," he whispered. Zerine turned. "You know her," he nodded once. "She was in my unit. We trained together, bled together. She was your friend?" "She was my shadow," Cole said quietly. "We were built to balance each other, but I thought she died in the collapse." In the courtyard, the girl stopped beneath the twin statues of Vetrax's founders. She pulled back her hood. She looked right at Cole. Her voice echoed, not loud, but heavy with memory. "You never turned back," she said. He stepped forward slowly. "I thought you were buried." She shrugged. "I was, but they pulled me out, and they used me to build something worse." Her red eyes shimmered like cracked glass. "You're the reason they started again, Cole. You survived too well. You remembered too much. And now they fear what happens when we both stand in the same place again." Zerine stepped beside him. "You don't have to do this." But Cole shook his head. "I trained with her. I have to face her." The girl raised her hand. A single device hovered between her fingers, a compact drone launcher. 12 arrows, just like before, but this time real ones, each arrow tipped with plasma cores. Silent, invisible, fatal. "You told them you could dodge with your eyes closed," she said softly. "Prove it again." She pressed the button. The arrows launched. Zerine screamed his name, but Cole, he didn't move. His eyes slowly shut, and everything around him disappeared. Inside his mind, he saw only wind. Pressure, tension. The air shifted, and his body remembered what his mind didn't need to explain. Step left, tilt shoulder, pivot heel, Hold breath. Lower chin 12 movements, 12 perfect moments. 1. Heartbeat. The arrows passed. None touched him. They shattered against stone. Walls, sky. The courtyard echoed with silence. His eyes opened, and the girl lowered her hand. You didn't forget, she said. He shook his head. Neither did you. Zirine's sword was drawn now. Is this a trick? A test? What do you want? The girl turned slowly toward her. I wanted to know if he was still my brother. Cole stepped forward. And? She looked at him with tears in her red eyes. He is. She collapsed into his arms. And for the first time since Earth fell, Cole cried. Not from fear. Not from pain. But from finally being seen by someone who knew everything and still came back. Later, in the throne chamber, the High Council met via HOLO. They demanded to know what happened. Zirine stood beside Cole and the girl. She said only one sentence. Earth's ghosts are awake, and they don't want war. But they remember how to end one. And far beyond, in the black void between stars, the last weapon of the old war stirred. It heard the name Cole Wren, whispered across data streams and warning broadcasts. It remembered the boy who survived its fire, and it waited. Because not all arrows fly through the air. Some are hearts, sharpened by loss. Some are hands, trained in peace but shaped by battle. And some, like Cole, are the arrows that never needed to be fired. Because the enemy already knew what would happen if they did.